Alright everybody, it's Revolver84 here, and today I'm going to do a very quick review of Telltale Games' Batman, which is a 5-episode mini-series from the Masters of Storytelling, Telltale Games. So it's a Batman-based story, so obviously Telltale Games have done a lot of stories around different things in the past. They've done Games of Thrones, they've done Walking Dead, and this time, it's the time of the Cape Crusader to take to the streets and sort stuff out. And the way I sort of see it, with it being like a 5-episode sort of release, I see each episode as sort of like a comic book, because it is a story that is comic book quality. It's quite a mature sort of storyline. It deals with some harsh, dark themes, but at the same time it is very much a cartoon style as well. So you can see the graphics there. It's your stereotypical sort of Telltale game sort of style and manner, and they've basically just cottoned on to the fact that comic books, or graphic novels if you like, are sort of drawn in this style, and they try to capture certain moments in the sort of same way that comic books do. Those important stills where you've got the guy standing over the Gotham City up a height, and Batman's looking all serious and pondering. There's those sort of scenes all the way throughout. But what you're going to be doing in the game, well, let's tell you about the story first of all. So it's a completely unique story. It doesn't follow on from any previous film or comic book series previously, just the fact that that you're Batman. And in this version of Batman, without giving too much away, it turns out that the Waynes, Batman's parents, for anyone that didn't know, might not have been as clear cut as what we've always been led to believe. So it becomes a bit apparent early on. You have sort of your suspicions, and Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, investigates that, and events start to unfold and take on a speed of their own outside of Bruce Wayne's control, which results in you visiting a fair few places famous within the Batman universe. So you've got key places like the Batcave, of course, like the Monarch and the Monarch, the Monarch Theatre and the alley behind Monarch Theatre, like Wayne Manor, Wayne Tower, Arkham, GCPD, like the Skyline Club, places that you would have heard of, you've probably seen in films before, and if you're a prolific comic book fan that follows Batman, you have definitely seen those locations within the comic book series.
Stealth not an option. I'll put together a plan of attack. Stand by.
Now, I don't know about what you think of Batman, but for me, the biggest appeal by a country mile is the rogue gallery that Batman has. Batman's enemies are some of the most interesting, diverse, imagination capturing sort of nemesis that you could ever hope to sort of see in any story, be it in a comic book, in a movie, on a TV program, in a book. They are genuinely quite interesting, and this series, this episodic series, makes full advantage of that and takes full advantage of that. It could have been very easy to fall into the trap of having the odd bad guy, maybe it's one, maybe it's two, three to push. No, you've got quite a selection of guys that you'll meet here. I'm not talking about the sort of same level as what you have from the Batman games of like Arkham Knight and stuff, but you still have a sensible collection of rogues. So just for example, you'll meet people like Harvey Dent, Carmine Falcone, Zaz, the serial killer, Catwoman, Penguin, Joker, but also unique to this game, it's introducing a new bad guy as well. And that one's called Lady Arkham. I'll not give too much away about who Lady Arkham is, or where she's coming from, or what her motives are, but she's the leader of an organisation called the Children of Arkham. Now, straight away, just from them names, something's going on with Arkham. And this sort of feeds back to what I've said earlier about some of the more darker themes. And given you're aware, probably as an audience member, what Arkham is, you start to maybe feel and get an understanding of how dark that character could get to and what that character might be capable of achieving. So what's the gameplay like? Well, it's exactly like every single Telltale game you've played already. If you've played The Walking Dead, if you've played Game of Thrones, it's exactly like that. We are talking about making decisions during conversations using the 4 buttons on your pad. We're talking about quick time events. There's also a bit like a heavy rain sort of situation. So every once in a while, you'll have to do an investigation whereby you're probably Batman, but sometimes it might be Bruce Wayne, but it's usually Batman. And you're in a crime scene or some sort of place where you have to link evidence together. So you'll be looking around a particular location, you might see signs of a scuffle or something, and you might link that to an item that might have been associated with that scuffle, and slowly and surely, a bit like I say heavy rain, a story builds up, and eventually you get to a point where you have enough evidence linked together to fulfill the full scene, and you can understand what the full scene is, and as a conclusion, Batman articulates that, usually to Alfred, and you can see the entire scene play out in front of you. There's a couple of downsides to this sort of style of storytelling, if I'm honest, and if I'm true to previous Telltale games. So, like for example, Walking Dead, classic example, Walking Dead. Anything was possible in Walking Dead. Any of your main characters could die. The story went off in multiple different directions. Because of that, there was a certain level of replay value in there as you tried to keep certain people alive and you wanted other people to die off, to see the different permutations of what could happen. The simple fact of the matter is you can't kill Batman. Spoiler alert, do you know what I mean? If you haven't guessed by now, you can't get Batman killed. You know, you can get him killed to bring the game to a stop, but you just continue from your last save file. Do you know what I mean? The story doesn't continue on. Whereas, like, you compare that to The Walking Dead, the main character dies, the story continues on. Without Batman, the story stops, obviously. So straight away, you know that Batman can't get killed. The story as well isn't affected too much by your decision, which is really disappointing, if I'm honest. So again, comparing it to previous Telltale games where if you happen to pick up a knife, then you are armed with that knife, which might come in handy later on. You know, there's nothing like that. Most of the decisions that you make, they'll be quite inconsequential. There's not a lot of depth here. You're more watching a cartoon than taking part and making active decisions, because your decisions have almost no outcome whatsoever. There's not a lot of time as Batman as well. I mean, I don't know if you've sort of gotten the impression from your videos that you've seen so far, but most of my capture is of Bruce Wayne, and the reason for that is that you might play Batman 5 times. I'm not exaggerating there. You know, there's 5 episodes of this series, and it wouldn't surprise me if it averages out your Batman for maybe 1 scene of each episode. So I understand that to a degree, but this makes us wonder if they should have created this game in the first place. Now, obviously, Batman shouldn't be seeing a lot. It's not like he has a lot of conversations with people. He goes in, smashes a bit of heads together, and gets you. I get that. To have conversation, you have to be someone who has communication with people, and that's Bruce Wayne. I understand that, but that's not what Batman should be. Batman should be Batman with Bruce Wayne, not the other way around. You know, that's where the action is. That's what intrigues people. That's where the most interesting events should be occurring. Not as Bruce Wayne, not as just a quote normal guy, for as quote as much normal as you can be being a billionaire. But that's where the action should be, and you don't get to play Batman half as much as you probably should. So there's a lot of upsides and downsides to this game. If I'm honest, it's probably Telltale's weakest attempt so far, and this is a part of a trend of Telltale games going down in quality recently. And this is a pretty poor try, if I'm honest. Just the sheer fact that you've got no particular outcomes. If you compare this to a game like Until Dawn, where you've got umpteen different outcomes, the butterfly effect and such like, it's the totally different games, even though they should be falling within the same subcategory of genre, and it's just not there. Now, if you're a Batman nerd, if you're sitting there at home and you've got Batman, 01 comics or whatever, and you're really into it, you're the type of guy that collects Batman collectibles and stuff, you'll be all out of this, and you're going to buy this game whether I tell you to or not, because you're a big Batman fan. And there's people like that out there, just like there is for Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? It's just like there is for The Simpsons. That's not a criticism. You know, everyone's got their own thing. Also, as well, there are, you know, trophy hunters as well. And if you're just really interested in getting an easy platinum trophy, this is a game for you, because you get a platinum for literally just finishing the game. Like all Telltale games, you finish the game and you get a platinum trophy. And there's a trophy for the completion of every episode, and then there's a trophy sort of like for every halfway through an episode as well. So there's a few trophies there to get. So if all you're wanting to do is be a bit of a trophy hoard, then this is an easy way to get a lot of trophies in a very short period of time. Now, having said those two things, the vast majority of people, the non-trophy hunters, the non-Batman nerds, won't find this particularly engaging or interesting. In fact, they'll find it a bit of a chore. It has to have a platinum at the end of it, because I'm not going to lie, you'd probably not want to finish it. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not too engaged. And I'm not saying that there isn't a lot of potential there, because, like I say, the Lady Arkham character in particular, I think is really interesting. Some of the characters are really interesting. The plot itself could be better. Like, the plot itself could be better, but it is still stand-upable. It's the sort of level of, you know, plot that could be in a film or something, a Batman film. So it's not the plot. The simple fact of the matter is that you're not doing anything. Like, your decision doesn't really make much of a difference, and that hurts so much, because the entire premise of this sort of style of game is how you choose to behave in that story. You're role playing a role, but if all you're doing is watching a movie, you might as well just stick on Dark Knight and watch the actual Batman film. Do you know what I mean? So my verdict, I've got to be honest, probably the poorest Telltale game I've played, and it's 5 out of 10 for me. Like I say, some of you might disagree with me, that some of you might think I'm overly harsh, but I am not exaggerating when I'm saying this is a game for the Batman fans. And that's it from me. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've benefited from it. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Will you be buying this game? It's been out for a while now. Or are you just going to go off and buy some of the other Batman games like Arkham Knight, which is reduced in price recently? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. All the best. Ta-da.